YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Just got a report in from people, boots on the ground in New Zealand. This is a article from 2 weeks ago, but it's in the New Zealand papers right now in Auckland. I think it's in the 3rd or 4th page. They're moving the housing crisis from the back page of the newspaper slowly forward to the front page. Eventually, it's going to make headline news, but all over the papers in Auckland, there's this story going around, floating around. 30,000 empty homes in Auckland. Is it time to tax the owners? We talked about this in last week's Trends in the Housing Market, and the week before, actually, we talked about this. There are calls for the government to bring in empty home tax, with tens of thousands of unused properties around the country, and even more struggling to find housing. So, you know, so many people trying to find a place to live, so much homeless, so much people all over the place that could, you know, do the math. 33,000 empty homes times 4 per person per house. That's a lot of people that could be housed. In Auckland alone, this is in Auckland alone, okay? More than 33,000 houses were registered as unoccupied in 2013 census data. Some with residents away, but more than 2/3 listed as empty. Political activist John Minto says Kiwis need to stop treating housing as a commodity which people buy and sell and make profit from. Yeah, I've been saying this. This guy's probably been watching my channel for a long time now, because that's what I've been saying. Everyone's treating it like a commodity and not an asset, and it's becoming a big problem. The first priority for housing is housing people who need it. He told Radio Live's First at 5. In New Zealand, we've allowed this situation to develop where homes are bought and sold for profit for the person who's the landlord, rather than for the living accommodation for the tenants and families that desperately need it. We are a community, and I think when there is a housing crisis, I think we should be acting as a community. However, Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Phil Twyford said, stuff the government was not considering as empty homes tax. The Labour-led government has a comprehensive plan and addresses the housing shortage, including a crackdown on offshore speculation and changing the rules around negative gearing, Mr. Twyford said. So, should the government introduce an empty home tax? Yes. So that's what the polls are showing right there. This week, the Labour government confirmed that the national predecessor spent $50 million housing the homeless in motels, and it had originally budgeted just $2 million. Mr. Twyford said that NewsHub said the blowout was a ticking time bomb. The $50 million spent in hiring motel rooms does not include the additional $8.5 million purchase of motels for transitional housing. Mr. Minto says Vancouver, Canada set a good example to follow. They have found people not renting their homes out and just by using them as Airbnb, so they put in an empty homes tax. They're saying that if your rental home is not rented for more than 4 months in any year, then you pay 1% of that home's value tax. I think that would be just an incentive that New Zealanders need, and Auckland in particular, to get those homes on the market and not only help the homeless situation, but actually bring down rents across the city. So definitely this person must be watching my channel, because if you go to my Trends in the Housing Market on this one episode, there's actually quite a bit of them. This one, and if you go to Housing Crisis New Zealand, where is it? I talk about it here in the UK, because there's so many billions of dollars of empty stock that's floating around the UK, and they should start taxing the empty properties. And I talked about this one here, BC housing disaster, and how Vancouver's been taxing empty properties in the city of Vancouver, and they're looking at implementing. And right here, this one too. See Sydney, California, London, New Zealand. So there's a lot I talk about this, guys. Check out my channel, because a lot of this is I've been talking about for months, if not years on end, talking about the same thing. Check out my trends in the housing market, guys. It's really good. Also, what Vancouver did is actually just a drop in the bucket in what France, Paris is speaking. Sorry, guys, I'm reading through the phone, and I don't know, my phone keeps zooming in and out, and it's getting hard for me to read through this damn thing. So you think, if you watch a few episodes ago, I talked about this, and I'll bring it up again through a different article, but the same story. Paris Council recently voted in favor to quadrupling the surcharge of tax of dehabitation for unoccupied homes in the city. It voted a law in National Assembly that would take it from 60% to 250% additional several hundred or even thousand euros to Paris owners' tax bill. So Paris is not playing. The amount of empty homes owned by investors is just littering the city. Just unoccupied, sitting there, gaining value because the market starts to squeeze, and then it becomes a supply and demand issue. And then the French housing minister is going to start saying, hey, guess what? We need to build more. Let's create more jobs, more construction, when that's not the case. Let me know what's happening if you're down in New Zealand. What's happening, you know, because I'm going to do a trends in the housing market. I might do a New Zealand edition again. I have like maybe 13 I've done already. You guys need to check them out. A lot of this stuff that's coming to light is just being mirrored of stuff I've been saying for the longest time. It's always the small guy out there that's got the very vocal voice and that keeps repeating the same things over and over that eventually start making differences around the world to help protecting New Zealand proper. I feel so bad for New Zealand with the meth test homes. They're going into winter right now, and the amount of people being put up in hotels, the thousands of people sleeping in cars. It's really sad to see the New Zealander, the Kiwi, have to struggle through something like this. Anyways, you guys are in my prayers. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. I'd like to know. Thanks for watching.